our recording. Okay, so now that we have just a couple parts left, we need to put the handle rod in and then the two balls on the end of the handle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the handle rod. The handle rod is 25025. So I'm gonna go to assemble. 25025, it's right here. Pull that in, okay? And you're gonna notice that our hole is horizontal. That's okay. We're gonna put it in place as is right here, and then I'll show you how we can go back to that vise screw and change its orientation so that this will be, you know, up and down. So I am going to do a coincident, this axis to that axis. All right, so that's in place. Not constrained yet. I'm going to add a new constraint, and I am going to do a distance. And I'm going to do a distance from I think the top of my handle rod. Now I've got to go to something. I don't think, oh, will it let me to the axis? I think it will. All right, cool. It's going to let me do an axis. And I'm kind of looking at that. Yeah, 2.5 sounds fine. 2.5. And then I'm still not fully constrained. What's left? Oh, I've got to rotate on this. I've got to rotate around here. So I'm going to turn on my planes. And I am going to, whoopsie, go back in there. I'm going to grab this plane right here, which is my right plane of my handle rod. And I'm going to grab the top plane of my assembly. And I'm going to make those, not coincident, but we're going to make those parallel. There we go. Because coincident would not be okay because the axes are already done. And now I turned gold, which I'm good. And I'm okay. All right. And we will make this, we'll make it yellow. Okay. All right. So now as we look here, this is the orientation right now of my handle rod, and I want it kind of standing up. I know I'm going to want it standing up for my assembly. So I am going to go back to my vise screw, and my vise screw is number 60, which was up here. There we go. And we're going to change its orientation so that we are going to add a parallel for this to the front plane. There we go. I don't know if I clicked. Oh yeah, I think it did it. Yep. So did it? I think I want it perpendicular. I'm going to see. Can I do normal or perpendicular? There we go. Not parallel. We want to do it. So the front plane of my vise screw, which is number 25060, and the front plane of my assembly, I want those to be perpendicular to each other so that now this is going through the center vertically, okay? Because that way when I do my assembly later on, oh man, what happened? That's not okay. What happened? You know, change that. I didn't know that was going to happen. So let me see. This one is not a valid one. So I'm going to delete it. Okay. And I need to now do a new coincidence with this and this. And it's going to say it's invalid. Okay. I think it's invalid because probably one of my parallels is, yeah, that's the one. I need that out of there. Yep, no, it's okay. Okay, but I'm not fully defined. So what I do need to do, I'll do that very same thing where I'm going to take new constraint. And this time, instead of parallel, I'm going to be normal or perpendicular to this plane to the top plane of my assembly. Did that do it? Okay. My distance is good. I'm coincident on my axis. I'm normal or perpendicular, but I'm not fully constrained. What am I missing? Let's go back in there. Oh, this orientation here, this can rotate. Usually it allows us to rotate, but this one is not. That's okay. So then I'm going to take this plane right here and I'm going to make it parallel. So I need a new constraint, parallel this one to this one. Now it's constrained. There we go. Okay. So my boxes aren't out in front. Yeah, sometimes it'll let that go. I'm surprised it didn't do that. All right. So now we've got our handle rod in place. That took a little bit longer than it should have. Now we're going to add our balls to the end. So I'm going to add my handle ball. That is number 20. And I'm going to find it. Oh, look at it. It's really close to where it needs to be. This is good. So I'm going to rotate this around because the larger hole needs to be vertical. So I'm going to grab coincident, axis to axis, and it's where it needs to be. And then gotta kind of look here. Move this along here. And I need to get this axis in line with this one up here. So I'm going to do a new constraint, coincident, this axis to that axis. There we go. And it's fully constrained. It is gold. So I'm going to say, okay. And we'll change its color to red. And then we'll add the other ball to the other end. So 20 again is still active for us. This is going to go up here. I'm going to rotate this around. We're going to grab coincident, the vertical axis to the vertical axis, new constraint. And I want to rotate this around a little bit. And I'm going to do another coincident on this axis to that axis. There we go. Okay. All right. Now, as far as pieces, we've got all of our pieces in place. So we have everything in place except for our fastener. Our fastener is to keep our jaw plates on, and our pin to go through each side of our balls. Okay, so so that's going to be the next thing that we're going to work on. So it's probably a good place to just do a quick save, to regenerate if you need to, and then I'm going to stop the recording and we'll do a new recording, our final recording for those last couple pieces.